Hey, what is going on, guys? Pineapple Sway here. Today I'm bringing you guys a Gotham Knight video. If you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. Now, this is some old gameplay from a while back, but I just wanted to talk about in today's video. Gotham Knights could possibly be getting a sequel. Believe it or not, apparently Warner Brothers Montreal is working on a new game. I talked about it briefly in my last video, which the game is apparently going to be live service. And if many of you guys do not know, Gotham Knights was originally meant to be live service. A lot of the game's live service elements are still there, and it may have even been better if it was live service, which is kind of odd to say knowing how Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League turned out. But like what I said, I've mentioned it time and time again in videos, but just to give context, Warner Brothers had to make a choice between making Gotham Knights live service or Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And they ultimately went with Rocksteady and Suicide Squad, thinking that that would be the better bet for them to bring them money. Obviously, none of the games brought them any money, but anyways, though, here we are today. I'm glad to see that WB Montreal is at least getting a second chance. And I talked about this last video. I honestly think their game is a Justice League game, but I'm not going to knock out a Gotham Knights sequel. Do I think this game is 100% guaranteed? No, I'm not going to say that. I would say this is probably about a 10% chance. All we know is that they're working on a game that's going to be live service. And I think Gotham Knights, in all honesty, if you give Gotham Knights a live service sequel, you make it 4 players like Suicide Squad, and you build off a successful, story and then some good post-launch content, we could have a pretty successful game and a pretty successful sequel, which is why, I'm here today to talk about, is Gotham Knights 2 getting made, or if it is Gotham Knights 2, will they even call it Gotham Knights 2? I really don't know. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of this game, but I think this game gets a bad rap, much like Kill the Justice League. That's just kind of where I stand. I think both games are great, and they have a bunch of things to offer. They're not great, they're good. They have a bunch of good things to offer. They're definitely flawed compared to what we've had previously, but I just think, a lot of people just kind of misunderstand these games, and that's kind of where I stand. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion, but that's where I stand. Anyways, though, with Gotham Knights, I'm glad, like what I said, to see them get a second chance. And with Gotham Knights 2, I feel like they could build off, this game's story and sort of start something fresh, Obviously, Batman sacrificed himself, and now it's the Knights stepping up to take his place. How do they go about that? Maybe they introduce a new threat to Gotham. I'm not really sure too much about the lore and stuff of Gotham Knights. I'm sure there's someone out there that knows a lot more than me in terms of story and how they could set up a sequel, but I know it's possible. I know they could do it. And knowing that the game was going to be live service originally, I'm sure they planned a ton of content ahead of time that just never made it to the game. I know at some point, I think Catwoman was supposed to be a playable character. Quote me if I'm wrong on that. I think it was a rumor or something, or she was supposed to be in the game. I don't think she was going to be a playable character, but I think at some point she was meant to be in the game. I also know the game was meant to at some point have a day and night cycle, but it just had a night cycle instead. I know Kill the Justice League ended up having the day and night cycle, but yeah, I don't really have much to talk about, but just wanted to say that there could be a possibility that this game that WB Montreal is working on, which we don't know much about, it's just, hey, all we know is that it's a DC game and it's in development, and I'm sure that they'll deliver on it. My bet, like what I said, I made a video about it already. My bet is they're going to reuse the assets of Kill the Justice League to make a Justice League live service game. So that's my bet. And a lot of you guys said, that would be really cool, but doubt that's going to happen. And, that's cool, and that's why I brought up this possibility. Maybe it is Gotham Knights 2. And although Gotham Knights, wasn't perceived well from the public and, wasn't really my favorite thing, I think more than anything, it would be great to see WB Montreal get a second shot and to work on something and to just bring us a pretty good product, because Gotham Knights kind of had that issue of just getting delayed over and over and over, and it was kind of just a mess, especially if it was supposed to be live service from the beginning but then switched to live service last second, since even the Heroic Assault was very like live service element, but just kind of fell apart because they introduced Starro and then it kind of just went off the rails, which with Starro being introduced, I mean, he could even be the villain in the next game if they wanted to do that. Because it was so weird that they kind of just introduced Starro the Conqueror with no explanation, one of the most dangerous villains in DC. But yeah, what do you guys think? How would you guys like to see a Gotham Knights sequel work? Personally, obviously I'm cool if they bring back all 4 characters, maybe introduce, some new characters, or if they do like a Justice League, maybe like a Young Justice. I really don't know. There's a lot of ideas they could do, but with Batman out of the picture, that gives them some room and some leeway to introduce some new heroes maybe. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they're working on. I hope we get a reveal for it soon. I know Rocksteady's game was announced in June of 2024, and then basically about a year later, or a few months, basically a year later, it got announced that it was going to be a Batman game. And so hopefully with this news breaking that WB Montreal is working on a game, hopefully we'll learn soon what it'll be. But I'm glad to see that they're getting another shot, and I think they greatly deserve it. People may not agree with me on that statement, but I'm going to stand on that. I think they deserve a second shot. They made Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins was incredible. They kind of missed with Gotham Knights, I'm not going to lie. But Gotham Knights still had some fun elements with it, and now I'm excited to see what they're going to bring, what they're going to deliver. Could be Gotham Knights too. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, though, this is Pineapple Sway. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I apologize for the lack and inconvenience with uploads. I'm going to be uploading this video on Tuesday, then you'll see a video on Thursday, and then Saturday, and then the schedule will go back to normal for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've just been very busy, but you guys have been supporting the channel like crazy, and it really means the world to me because I'm super close to 4,000, something that I didn't even really think I was going to hit anytime soon. But here we are. We are currently 80 subscribers away as I'm making this video. So yeah, anyways, though, this is Pineapple Sway. Peace out.